Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely crucial for anyone navigating the modern workforce. We're unpacking a truly fascinating framework from Phase 5, governance, straight out of the companion workbook to what comes after the resume. We're going to look closely at how we actually govern and protect our professional data in an age where the systems we interact with literally want to consume everything about us. If you've ever felt that sudden panic of needing to update your resume, or if you've wondered if pasting a project summary into ChatGPT was really a safe idea, well, this explainer is built exactly for you.
Okay, let's look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the privacy tension we all feel, how to prove your work without exposing it, the 5 privacy tiers, navigating AI integrity, keeping your record alive, and finally, how to truly own your professional truth.
So let's start right in with number 1, the privacy tension, where we constantly battle between overexposing and underproving ourselves.
You see, we're operating in an AI-driven labor market that constantly demands proof of your capabilities. And that brings up a really critical dilemma for all of us. How do you prove your work without exposing it? How on earth do you validate those complex, high-stakes projects without violating employer trust, leaking sensitive client data, or, crossing some serious legal boundaries?
Well, when we're rushed and under pressure, we usually fall into one of 2 dangerous extremes. On one side, you've got overexposing. This is totally fear-driven. You desperately want to be believed, right? So you end up uploading internal, proprietary employer documents right into AI tools. Not a great idea. But then on the flip side, we have underproving. This is caution-driven. People in highly regulated fields just leave their best projects out entirely because they're terrified of breaking the rules. Let me tell you, both of these extremes are incredibly damaging to your career. This leads us directly into our second topic, proof without exposure, and how you go about governing your evidence. To solve this crazy tug-of-war, we use what's called governed proof. This protects both the worker, that's you, and the people connected to your work. And if you think this isn't a massive deal right now, just look at how the highest federal authorities are viewing this exact issue. The EEOC is out here demanding strict safeguards against AI hiring bias. NIST has published these extensive, detailed frameworks on managing AI risk and personal data. And the USPTO, they are strictly monitoring trade secret policy. You simply cannot afford to be casual with your professional evidence anymore. It's a legal and ethical minefield.
Which brings us to a really important definition. Proof without exposure is the practice of preserving the truth of your professional work while strictly governing the proof to protect sensitive, proprietary, or private information. And I really want to emphasize something absolutely vital here. Proof without exposure is not weaker proof. In many professional settings, showing that you can handle confidentiality with discretion is actually the only responsible proof available. Discretion itself is evidence of great judgment. Okay, moving on to part 3, the 5 privacy tiers, which is detailed over in Workbook Module 7. This right here is where you take back control. You do this by assigning every piece of your evidence to one of 5 specific tiers. Tier 1, public. This is stuff that's safe to share anywhere. Tier 2, shareable with care. Think of this as great for a private one-on-one interview. Tier 3, summary only. You can describe the broad strokes of the work, but you absolutely have to lock down the details. Tier 4 is private. This is strictly for your own memory and prep. And finally, Tier 5, do not use externally. That is a hard, non-negotiable boundary for highly confidential data. By putting labels on things in advance, sharing actually becomes a deliberate decision, rather than a really dangerous reflex. Let's look at how the summary-only tier actually works in action. Imagine you led this massive, highly confidential project. You obviously can't name the client or the budget, but you can write a public safe version. It might sound something like this. Coordinated, sensitive, multi-stakeholder process improvement in a regulated environment without exposing protected client details. Boom. You've just successfully abstracted a totally secret project into a safe, impactful, and entirely truthful resume bullet. Next up, Part 4, Navigating AI Integrity, drawing from Workbook Module 10. We absolutely have to address the elephant in the room, the massive complication of using generative AI to write our professional materials without leaking private data. And honestly, the scale of this risk is staggering. Explicit data from the Pew Research Center and McKinsey shows that 1 in 5 U.S. workers now use AI in their jobs. That is an enormous amount of people constantly feeding sensitive data into learning models every single day. To combat this data leak nightmare, the workbook introduces the AI Integrity Log, and this aligns perfectly with the NIST Generative AI Profile, by the way. Whenever you interact with tools like ChatGPT or Copilot, you have to maintain strict provenance over your data. First, track exactly what source material you provided. Second, record the specific prompt you used. Third, document the AI's output. And be sure to explicitly note any rejected inferences. Those times where the AI just hallucinates or overstates your claims. And finally, verify that a human review actually took place to ensure no privacy boundaries were crossed. Basically, this log lets you adhere to strict enterprise privacy policies while still getting all the fantastic benefits of AI assistance.
All right, let's jump to Part 5, Keeping the Record Alive. This comes directly from Workbook Chapter 22.
Here's the truth. A governed record will completely die if it relies on crisis mode intensity. If you are only updating your resume when you're desperately trying to escape a toxic job, you are going to burn out. Instead, you've got to build a sustainable rhythm. Weekly, just spend 5 minutes capturing quick context. Monthly, take maybe 30 minutes to review and assign those privacy tiers we talked about. Quarterly, do a review of your active claims. And annually, archive the old stuff and reflect on your growth. Seriously, 10 minutes of simple capture today will literally save you hours of panicked reconstruction a year from now.
And finally, Part 6, Owning Your Professional Truth and Establishing Those Final Safeguards.
Because at the end of the day, the ultimate purpose of building this governed record isn't just about being hyper-organized. It's really about human dignity. It's captured so beautifully in this quote from Jeff Chamberlain in What Comes After the Resume. Before the system defines you, build the record that tells the truth. Your professional record exists to protect you from being flattened into a generic AI-scored data object by corporate algorithms. You and only you are the author of your context.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought. Think about everything you've accomplished recently. What is truly true about your work this year, and what should travel forward with you? You have the power to take agency over your own professional memory right now. Don't wait for a crisis to hit. Safely build your source layer today, govern your proof, and own your professional truth. Thanks so much for joining me today.